how they will emerge and become global leaders. So let me start with how we'll structure this session is that I'll ask you one opening comments for 3 minutes, starting with Aman. Uh, these are very ambitious numbers. We've already grown 300% in the last 5-6 years, and we are aspiring to grow 3 times. Uh, do you think it is a realistic target? And what is going to be your role in this wonderful journey of the next 3 years and then the next decade? Aman?
Thank you so much, Pankaj sir, for the introduction, and good to be here. We are an audio brand, audio wearables, hearables. We started 6 years back. 2016 is when we started both. So, we can talk in Hindi also, right?
Yes.
So it's easier. So, जब हमने start किया था ना तो people used to think कि Indian brands can't do well in electronics, right? कि when we were starting, we were rejected by the whole world. The world at that time was mostly investors, right? People thought कि यार India से brand नहीं बन सकता. तो हमने अपनी जर्नी जब स्टार्ट करी तो हमारा पास जब हम इस मार्केट में आए तो कम से कम 200 ब्रांड थे सर. They were Japanese, they were Chinese, they were German. There were a lot of brands apart from Indian brands which were surviving, which were doing well in this industry. And there was one adjacent industry which was also Indian mobile brands which were not doing as well as they could have, right? So we were in a position where we were our death story was written even before we were born, right? People judged us by a very different lens as Indian brands doing well. But I think that that time India was changing. Indians started feeling for Indian brands. I think we were one of the first brands, and we were called by as a D2C brand, online brand at that time. But India was changing, the consumers were changing. Consumers then started having that love for India, and that is growing even more as we speak. And that change has helped us both to become one of the, in India, we are the largest, as you gave the introduction, we are the largest audio brand in India, sir, for the last 10 quarters. So there is a saying by a very famous guy, sir. It's called "हम भी बना लेंगे," right? It's something which is not just a line. It is one of the mission statements in our company, in all of us. Because there is nothing which the Indians can't do, right? So we started as a brand made in India first. The brand was made in India, but there was another change happening in the last few years where people started liking made in India products, which was also not a big thing earlier. People didn't care that where it is made. But slowly, thanks to the efforts and thanks to the push from the government also, Make in India started becoming a pride. Make in India started becoming something which people wanted to buy. So we started our journey 3 years back. And I'll give you a small example. 100% of our products were first imported. Now 75% of our products are now made in India. It was not an easy journey, sir. And you've been helping us, Rajesh ji, the government has been helping us. Make in India is not an easy journey. It takes time, right? And I always say, that Rome was not built in a day. India will not make in a day. India will take its time. And we are all learning, right? इंडिया में कोई ऑडियो प्रोडक्ट नहीं बनता था, कोई वेरेबल प्रोडक्ट नहीं बनता था, कोई घड़ी नहीं बनती थी, किसी को पता ही नहीं था बनाते कैसे हैं. And thanks to the support of the ecosystem, now 90% of the watches India consumes is made in India. Imagine what is the future.
And I think the phased manufacturing program set up by MIT has contributed immensely to this. I think we should applaud MIT and Amitesh ji sitting here.
सर मैं सच बताऊं, अगर पुश नहीं आता ना गवर्नमेंट का भी और सपोर्ट नहीं होता गवर्नमेंट का, हम नहीं बनाते. अगर फेज मैन्युफैक्चर, अगर एक सिंपल बात है, अगर अगर कहीं और हमसे सस्ता मिलेगा तो एज बिजनेसमैन, एज लॉजिकल पीपल वी विल से कि यार बाहर से खरीद लेना ना, सस्ता बन रहा है, सस्ता मिल रहा है, हम यहाँ से क्यों बनाए। और एक तो बनाओ, मेहनत करो, और यू नो इट्स नॉट इजी, उसको करो और फिर पता लगे कि दूसरे बंदे बाहर से खरीद के हमसे सस्ता लाके हमें ही मार देंगे। तो गवर्नमेंट का जो फेज मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पॉलिसी प्रोग्राम आया है, इसके इसके बिना नहीं होगा। और एंड द बेस्ट पार्ट इज अंडरस्टैंड कि बहुत टाइम लगेगा, धीरे धीरे, पहले एक स्टेप, फिर पीसीबी, फिर नेक्स्ट स्टेप, एंड वी आर ऑल वर्किंग टुगेदर एज द इकोसिस्टम। एंड आई थिंक that is the beauty about you know the support which we are getting. And third, sir, the last one I wanted to say, because you given 3 minutes, the last one I wanted to say was, we did the brand made in India. Brand was born in India. Then we did made in India. And you know, I remember Modi ji once saying that let's now make in India for the world, right? And we want to be, once we get the factory right, and we're opening another factory in India now by us. Once we get the factory right, once we get Make in India right, we want to make for the world, sir. Why can't we do that? Why can't we have?
Aman, we want a promise from you. When will you be clocking $1 billion sales in United States?
Sir, we should. So I'll tell you a small example, and you know, these guys will kill me for taking their time. Sir, I was invited by the Prime Minister's office for the Paris trip, right? And I was sitting at the table, and there were a lot of the CEO delegation was there, and you know, everybody was talking. I said, we all, you know, when I said in the conference that we all love French brands, right? And I hope there is a time when French people start liking Indian brands, right? And I think that is what the new India aspires to be, sir. Yeah. We all see Apple store के बाहर लाइन लगी होती है। मेरा तो बड़ा मन है किसी दिन यूएस में बोट का स्टोर और वहाँ लाइन लगी हो, सर, अलग ही फील आएगी।
You didn't answer my question. I wanted a commitment from you.
सर ऐसे कमिटमेंट कर दी ना सर, जितने मीडिया वाले रिकॉर्ड करके बोलेंगे इसने बोला था अभी तक हुआ नहीं, तो सर अभी उसके बारे में सोचने दो थोड़ा सा। अभी बताऊँ।
Thank you, Aman. Wonderful. So, Sudhir, from this, you know, very sort of volcano in the tummy type of address of Aman, let's go back to the things which are the fundamentals of the global economy. These, you know, large century-old companies who make things going, and which India needs the most. It will be wonderful to hear from you how you see our vision, and what do you see your personal role and the role of Corning in India's journey.
Thank you. So let me end what Aman started, and I would like to quote our current Tata chairman, who once said that recently. I heard him saying that this Make in India started like a slogan. The slogan became a belief. The belief became a movement, and today we are in the execution phase. So all the companies in India are in the execution phase today, and when we talk about the self-reliant, what Aman was talking about, making both a brand in US, I think it's just about time that India would be self-reliant. We can argue about 2025 or 2026 or when, but it's going to be self-reliant. Coming to Corning, quickly, we are a 172 years old company, and we have been vital to all the industries that we serve and the world that we share. We are into that unparalleled expertise of glass science, ceramic science, and optical physics. I will not talk about what we did globally, but let me talk about how did we contribute in India. So I was a young kid in 1980s when the first Asiad was happening in 1983 Delhi. That's the time when my father got a Samtel TV at home. And that TV was enabled by Corning. We had a joint venture at that time, we named Samcor, and Cor was Corning in that. So since then, we have been enabling the industries, all the industries that we talk about, the semicon or mobile, to deliver to the customers. Then the next big thing that happened was in 2012 when we set up our mega plant for drawing fiber in India. And very recently, We have set up few more manufacturing footprints in India, and we are evaluating how the ecosystem is evolving to participate in the mobile and the display ecosystem. So that's how we are empowering the Indian customers and the industries in India. So far, if I look at the policies, how the policies has been helping us, I would say, if I sum it up in one word, I think it's exciting. We are very happy about the policies. What I really need from the government, and that's something that I have been always talking to the government and say that, hey, this is a policy document, now can we have a manufacturing strategy for that? When I say manufacturing strategy, which means it cannot be just a big statement around policy, but can we really look at the stacks of each component that goes into a product? Like if I talk about mobile manufacturing, can we really look at different stack of a display? Can we look at cover glasses? Can we look at touch panel? Can we look at display separately? So that's how we will be able to build this entire ecosystem in India to make sure that whatever the aspiration of Honorable Prime Minister is, we are executing that on the ground. So we are all committed to that growth in India.
Thank you, Sudhir. We have great expectations from you and Colin. Raminder, do you pinch yourself sometimes in the morning that how did this happen, 100 crores to 1 billion? What has contributed to that? And do you see yourself as the future Foxconn of India?
So thanks for good compliments. Good afternoon. I know it's going to be lunchtime. I won't speak much longer. But for me, the terminology EMS, earning money slowly, it's not electronic manufacturing services. Because we took almost 24 years for reaching the spot what we are. EMS is a sector where you need to make a lot of products in a different forms, and you start with PCB and then make a box around it. And when we started, why I want to tell you this small story is that when we started in way back in 98, 97, that time when we used to go to the bank and ask for a 2 lakh rupees loan, they used to say it's a screwdriver. What you are doing is fracturing. What is manufacturing? So I said this is what we will plan to do and this is how we want to grow. Because at that particular period of time, India had no vision on how we are going to grow electronics in India. So it was one of the uphill tasks to get even a component imported to India. That was the days when we started. Today, we proudly sit in the platform where we are talking about 300 billion and then going up to much bigger numbers. This has happened because of all the value additions which we are doing in a period of years. This has happened because of one thing which is called passion. A passion is something which I always talk about to all my team members, that once you have a passion of doing manufacturing, you can achieve. Because in our thinking, in our terminology, we call it take nation as first, second your company, and third comes you yourself. Once you have that kind of a mindset, that when you think that yes, this nation can do, we can do. And that is something which we have learned in many years. So, for us, a passion is very important, that once you have some will to do any kind of a manufacturing, you just get into it and do it. Today, we became the largest TV manufacturers thanks to the government. It's not happened magically that we did something. I used to watch people coming from abroad bringing TV sets at the airport. I always used to wonder why we can't manufacture within India. And thanks to the government that they came up with the thought that okay, we ban the TV import. And that is where the evolvement of manufacturing started. And that is where we are now what we are. So if government understands the pains of electronics manufacturing, I think we can really conquer the world. It is just the beginning, I'll say, and I am very sure that whatever numbers we are projecting, though it's looking high, we will be much beyond that if we have same kind of a passion, same kind of people who really take risks. For me, as I said, EMS is all about earning money slowly. Let's come out of the mindset of trading, that we just don't trade, we really wait for the money to really realize, but once it realizes, it really makes you proud as an Indian that yes, we can deliver what we wish to deliver. So for me, it's more of a passion, sir, rather than numbers.
Thank you. But do you see companies like yours and Dixon and other companies, the EMS companies, evolving into the future Foxcons? Do you think we have it in us to
Sir,
reach those scales?
we all have the scale, but we as Indian have to think on a co-optation mode, not as a competition mode. You know what happens is, as I told you, once we take nation as first, we all have to group together and see that what we can deliver as a team rather than just fight within us. So everyone has a potential, everyone has a strong vision. We should not look at making fast money, we should really wait to see that what value addition we are bringing in. And one of the thoughts which I just wanted to convey is that, we have come out with a strong PLI scheme, but PLI scheme should now further enhance to go into what value addition you are bringing into the system. Because if your value addition is going above 50%, incentivize that company. Because that is where real manufacturing will happen. Right now it's more of an assembly. We should get into more of value addition of about 70 to 80% of any product we are making, right from semiconductor to component packaging to final product. So that is a change scenario where the government should really incentivize. So that's something which we all can do, and we will see involvement of
I
not only
understand.
Foxconn and Flextronics or anybody. Will have much bigger numbers coming from India.
I understand why your company is called Resolute. I can understand now. I was wondering why it is called
Thank you, sir. It's determination.
I'll move on to Ravi. Ravi, you are in the very core area and you straddle every vertical of electronics. And please tell us a little bit about your company, what it does, and how do you see India panning out? And in your particular area of material science, what are your suggestions for us? And I'll make a little correction, Ravinder. TV import is not banned, it is only kind of not encouraged. Officially, it's not banned.
So thank you, Pankaj, first of all, for inviting me to be on this panel. Thanks a lot. And good afternoon to all of you. So a little bit about our company. Parent company is called Element Solutions. It's a US headquartered public company on NYSE. We were set up and it's a advanced materials and specialty chemicals company. That's essentially what we do. And the largest part of the business is in electronic materials. It's probably one of the only companies that goes from chip to box. So back end of line semiconductor that was being talked about yesterday and the day before regarding from copper damascene chemistry to copper pillar bumping to packaging materials to IC substrate fab chemicals, PCB fab to board assembly to box builds. We are in every layer of the electronics manufacturing value chain. It's a sort of a unique position to be in. We operate in 50 countries globally, including India. In India, we are 92 years old as a multinational. We were set up in India in 1931 as a manufacturing company, so we were manufacturing that long in India. We sort of helped build the electronics industry in India, so to speak. We grew up with the electronics industry. We ended up training many of the engineers today who are in the SMT space in India. So, very much we are sort of part of the fabric of the Indian ecosystem in electronics manufacturing. I would say the time is absolutely right now for India to scale in a very big way. The ingredients are all there. The government policy is working out phenomenally well, and I commend the ministry and Honorable Prime Minister for providing the impetus in the industry for actually putting a program together that's really galvanizing the entire industry. What I see going forward is really building an ecosystem and taking that ecosystem upstream. So if you look at the evolution in India, it's really from box build and what Raminda mentioned, assembly, to now board assembly. And I think going forward it'll be PCB and IC substrate, fab, semiconductor packaging and fab, right? For that to happen in an effective way, we need to build a pretty strong ecosystem supporting all of this. It's like the tip of a spear and working your way back from there. So things have to happen simultaneously now in terms of investing substantially in materials, upstream materials that enable all these components and systems to be manufactured here. The second part, I think, is really to achieve massive scale. And to achieve massive scale, we have to think about really manufacturing with very high levels of Sigma, Six Sigma level manufacturing, and inculcate that mindset into our education system. I'm talking about undergrad or even before that. Setting up, literally manufacturing ecosystems on campus and educating the engineers in that way. So, and of course, last but not the least, is developing a research ecosystem that actually serves as an engine going forward. Both in terms of domestic developments, but collaborations with international research institutes and entities. And I think doing that will go a very long way in taking this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. And I come to Dr. Nandini Tandon. Usually ladies are first, but I wanted you to have the last laugh. Nandini ji, this massive growth will require huge amounts of money, obviously. I have Hariom ji is there. He talks about a number of 200 billion is the requirement. That's other than the semiconductor ecosystem. So that's the amount of money which is required. And a whole ecosystem has to be created. How do you view? You are an insider and yet you have an outside view. How do you see this progress, and you think in this short time we'll be able to rustle up resources? And this is part one of my question to you. Part two is this great partnership with the US. We've shared what our bilateral trade in electronics is. US is our largest trading partner. US is also the largest consumer of electronics. So how do you see that partnership panning out?
So thank you, Pankaj. First and foremost, what a privilege, honor it is to be here, and I appreciate you inviting me to be on this panel. You are so emblematic of the spirit of India, so excited about India, bullish, and yet cautiously making sure that we cross the T's and dot the I's. So, lovely to be with fellow panelists who are so excited and are building towards the scaffolding of Make in India, which is so much at the heart of where we are. Secondly, I'd like to congratulate Semicon India. You can feel the buzz, you can feel the energy, and at the end of the day, the enthusiasm of the people and the audience and the engagement of people flying from all over the world to be here says it all. I think it's a very basically resonates strongly with what Semicon India is looking to accomplish. So to your two questions, how do I see the venture capital or the finance inflow? And the second question, as an American citizen of Indian origin, how do I see the two countries partnering, working out in the present geopolitical and ecosystem? So from a venture capitalist standpoint, and somebody who's a scientist and who is standing at the threshold of multiple technologies coming together, and who also has always been a champion, and we are so excited right now that it's a multidisciplinary, multi-technology world where solutions will emanate not from any one technology, but from harnessing the convergence of them. So So this is a very exciting time. From a VC's perspective, it's always been important not to invest in technology, but to invest in leadership. Because as VCs, we believe that technology, if it fails, then a good leader is going to figure out how to chart the course in a different way to then to change the technology's usage or change the business plan. But if the leadership fails, then even a good technology in the wrong hands is not going to go far. So I think the most exciting part of India today is you have phenomenal leadership. And just absolutely, I think it calls for a huge applause. It's such pride we saw Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji to come recent visit to America, and just about everybody. I was at the Congress where the joint session took place. Both sides of the aisle were so excited by the leadership of Prime Minister Modi and lend themselves, which is very unusual. Sometimes the Democrats support some people, sometimes Republicans. But in the case of Prime Minister Modi, it was from both sides. The second thing which is very exciting about India is that we all know that, as my father would always say, it takes an excellent captain to drive a super tanker, being a captain of a super tanker himself. But at the same time, you need the team to be with you. And needless to say, we heard the Honorable Foreign Minister earlier today. At least in my lifetime, I can say that I have rarely come across a foreign minister of this ilk from any country, leave aside India. And the strategic angle and vision that Prime Minister Modi brings to bear, that he takes forward, allows us as venture capitalists to come to India with the understanding that the two countries will work better together. And on the same note, the thing that we appreciated about the leadership of Vaishnaji, that he's himself from a technology background. So when he came recently to California and we sat across the table with him, he was excited about the possibilities of the two countries working together in different technologies. Same thing, I had a meeting with the MOS yesterday, Rajiv ji, he understands technology. And if I may echo what you said, Amitesh ji has been fantastic. So I think it's all about leadership, and it's there in space. Then purely now looking from a finance perspective, because yes, you need technology, we need leaders, but looking at the money makes the mayor go, right? The world needs money to make anything happen. And the ambition that India is entertaining today needs a lot of money, and it needs a lot of creation of startup, innovation, entrepreneurship culture, which needs money. On that note, on a very seriously, what I would like to say is that I think it's very important for India to take a pause and look at the model India wants to follow for itself. This is not a cut and paste industry where you look at what other countries have done. Israel has exceptional technology and big venture capital. India and Israel, you can't compare that model. The same thing with the country north of India. They have a different ecosystem, and the venture capital community will have to work differently in that ballgame. India has unique opportunity to play a very critical role, especially in the tech sector, and I love what you showed about electronics, and coming from the healthcare industry. In the medical electronics, we use chips. And when you have problems with the chip industry, we have problems with the patient's lives, right? So this is very serious. So for us, the sustenance of the semiconductor industry is tied to keeping people alive. So it's very important. So bringing money to the table is critically important, but the government, I know, has played an important role in giving land and water and power, and also in the case of Micron, they are putting money on the table. But I think there are only so many Microns in the world today, and there have to be a very thoughtful approach to how this ecosystem can be generated, so that if we are serious about, and I know, and that's why I started off by leadership, I said this leadership is very serious, and I think the best hallmark of this leadership being serious is they're good listeners. I recall before we would come to India, and they would tell us how we sitting in America should run America. But now when we come to India, they are willing to listen to us, and they're looking to see how we can work together. The important thing would be, I think, for the ecosystem to ensure that we support those high net worth individuals that can also bring money to bear. We need liquid cash. We cannot rely on the banks, because I'm also an entrepreneur, and an entrepreneur's journey is challenging to begin with. So if you're looking to get money in the form of debt, then the collateral is there, so that is difficult. And then there are so many other issues at the play. But there is a lot of money that India has today. What it needs to do is have the tax policy such that it allows high net worth individuals to put their money as angel investors into the system, back entrepreneurs, so that that money can be put to use to creating the ecosystem, because it's a heavy lift. I would like to close with the question that you had raised. It's the most exciting time between the largest and the oldest democracies of the world, between India and US. I think the trust that Foreign Minister said earlier today is critically important, and I'd like to make a plug to what Consul General Mike said from the Mumbai office. US Consul General said that this is the best time between the two countries, because we are aligned in our incentives, and we all know that for any win-win partnership to take place, truly it needs to be win-win, and the alignment has to be there, and I cannot think of two countries who are better aligned. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Anjali. For the semiconductor folks, some of you must be wondering what we are doing in the semicon business. So we see ourselves as the people who lay the road for the semiconductors to drive on it. And just to give some numbers, we consume 15% of the mobile phones globally, India, and produce about 20% of the global mobile phones. If you take that, if you translate that into semiconductors, this is good enough to take care of the requirement of 10 fabs, 12-inch fabs, producing 200,000 wafers in a year. If you take the dies at 148, this is the kind of number which can get consumed theoretically with the volumes we build. And as I said, abhi to party shuru hui hai. The other verticals have just begun. You heard wearable wearables, IT hardware, laptops, desktops, tablets, and the other verticals. So look at the kind of consumption which is going to be there. Now, last, one question to all of you. You guys must have seen the movie The Last Samurai. And in the end, when the captain goes to meet the emperor, he asks him that, tell me how the samurai died. But he tells him how he lived. So I want you to take the contrarian view that, in all this one army, what are the core two challenges which you see which can upset this great, relentless vision which the Honorable Prime Minister has said, as a caution to the policymakers that what do we have to watch out for? I'll start with Sudhir first.
Thank you. So, as I alluded earlier, the policies set by the government are fantastic, and thanks to those policies, we are seeing a non-linear growth in India. Uh, Talk about digitization, the kind of money that's moving going on the UPI is we couldn't have ever imagined a few years back. So it's perfectly well, and that's the reason agencies like Corning trying to evaluate the options in India. What is the need for a company like Corning, again, which I mentioned earlier, is to have a great policy. Can we really look at a manufacturing strategy, which means, for example, the display, if I talk about a display fab, we have to really look at the different stack of a display. From a cover glass to a touch panel to a display. Look at that, how do we get those ecosystems in India? Second is not a requirement but a suggestion, is if you can have a land back corporation kind of thing in India, which will make it very easy for acquiring land, large mass of land for constructing factories quickly. The other one is again a suggestion, is a uniform labor code across all the states so that it's very easy for implementing any policy that we would like to have. But to end, I would say thanks to these policies, all in the right steps in the right direction, which is helping make India become make India a self-reliant. It's just about, we can just argue about the time or the year when we be self-reliant. It's just about that.
Wonderful. Aman, I know there are no boundaries in your mind. And you have this never say die, this thing. Can you think of something which needs caution, or where you think we are not on the right track?
मैं मतलब हम लोग जब स्टार्ट हुए थे ना सब 6 साल पहले, तो हमें ना बहुत डर लगता था, ठीक है, मतलब आई बी फ्रैंक गवर्नमेंट से डर लगता था, राइट, तो ब्यूरोक्रेट से डर लगता था, राइट, और कभी ऐसा नहीं होता था कि हम कुछ बोल सकें, कुछ कर सकें. अब सर पहली बार है कि I request a date from the minister, from the secretaries. अब मिल जाती है सर. अब the government is talking to us, और हम लोग ना इतना हमारे पास जैसे बहुत लोगों के पास पूरा एक डिवीजन होता है गवर्नमेंट सपोर्ट का, बहुत लोगों के पास बहुत सारे एक्स सेक्रेटरीज भी काम करते हैं, करेक्ट. मेरे को तो था नहीं सर. हमें तो नॉर्मल कंज्यूमर समझ आता है, मार्केटिंग समझ आती है, प्रोडक्शन समझ आती है, तो हमें तो बहुत सपोर्ट चाहिए सर. मतलब आप लोग इतना सपोर्ट करते हो, कमेटी सपोर्ट करता है. बिना सपोर्ट के सर हम तो मतलब बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्रीज खत्म हुई है, हम भी खत्म हो जाएंगे. तो हमारे को तो आज हमारी प्रॉब्लम एक्स है, कल कुछ और होगी. कभी हमें इंटर मिनिस्ट्री इशूज भी हो सकते हैं, और होंगे भी, और वही भी हैं, वो भी सॉल्व करने हैं. तो हमारे पास तो सर अभी हमें भी नहीं पता कि आगे और नेक्स्ट क्या प्रॉब्लम आने वाली है, करेक्ट. तो हम बीच में हम जाएंगे, और हमें आई जस्ट फ्रॉम माई साइड, from representing the young industries, young startups, we need more support from the organization, from the government, than probably the bigger guys. So just keep supporting us is my request to the whole government. And secondly, the ecosystem plays very important, sir. We just जैसे मारुति बनी थी तो पूरा इकोसिस्टम बना था कि कोई कुछ बना रहा है, कोई कुछ बना रहा है. हम हर चीज खुद नहीं बना सकते सर. एंड वी नीड प्रोग्राम लाइक दिस फॉर एवरी स्मॉल इंडस्ट्री, राइट. जैसे हम अपने पीसीबी शुरू कर रहे हैं इंडिया में, तो रबर कैसे बन रहा है, अब जैसे पैकेजिंग शुरू हो गई है, तो रबर कैसे बन रहा है, उसका कंपोनेंट कैसे बन रहा है, ये कैसे बन रहा है. सो इट्स नॉट जस्ट I would say assembly, and the government is working on that. I think the whole ecosystem has to come together for brands like us to start leveraging that. So those are the 2 points I would say.
So like 3 Idiots, all is well, right?
For now, sir, all is well.
And that's a huge endorsement. In spite of my constant prodding, you have 2 strong certificates of endorsement. Raminder, does anything keep you awake at night?
Yeah, so I have very 2 points only, very prospective in terms of what are the challenges, why Indian entrepreneurs don't take risks. Indian entrepreneurs don't risk because they are not covered. The problem in any business of electronics manufacturing is that when you make a product, when you sell and you don't get paid, there is a banker who comes and takes you away. So that is what needs to change. What we need to do in India is come out with the policies like how other countries are, where they are ensuring that whatever you're manufacturing or for exports or within the domestic, there is an insurance cover. Now, once you do the insurance cover, you will focus on manufacturing, you will focus on the product development. But the day-to-day challenges of collecting your money and working on it is a very uphill task. So for me, that is one thing which we really want to do in India is that go ahead and come out with an insurance policies where your risk is covered, and then you'll see huge amount of entrepreneurs coming up and they will take that risk, because once you take the risk, you will see a real ecosystem developing, because ecosystem for any product requires huge amount of talent as well as it requires a lot of dedication. Second thing, which is not possible by us, but it has to be thought over as a nation, is that stop brain drain. Right now, all the good talents we have, they go abroad because they have an opportunity and they like to be in the country where there is an opportunity. Now the opportunity is here in India. If we stop these kind of brain drains and then get that things here in India because of opportunities, I think that will change the entire scenario, because you love to do for your country and you can bring that same value chain in within India rather than just going out.
Thank
So
you.
these are the two things which I
Very, very
think are
valuable. A quick 30 seconders, Dr. Nandini Tandon and Ravi, and then we have time for a few questions, but we have to close rapidly now.
So very quickly, more of what all the other panelists have said. It's about policy. It is supporting the entrepreneurs, the startup innovation. It is a sense of urgency. And I would also like to add that once bitten, twice shy. There has been a history before of false starts in different domains. So this time around, I think it's critically important that this exceptionally well begun endeavor reaches its logical conclusion, and the next 6 to 8 months are very critical. The world is watching not only the semiconductor but electronics, but also looking at how very seriously India is taking on this opportunity. I'd just like to add, I was recently in Uttar Pradesh, and we were blown out of the water by the Chief Minister's reception of technology and appreciating the fact that health is a state subject. So even if we are working with MEPI and IT and electronics, because today medicine is a lot about different technologies coming in, it's digital, it's AI, it's semiconductor, yet it is important that different divisions in his government speak. He got that clearly, he made it happen. Secondly, we said that unless you have a procurement policy that supports the startup, it's not going to happen, because the entrepreneur should not be subjected to the mercurial facets of the tendering process. There should be due diligence, so whatever comes out by the entrepreneurs gets subsumed in the states and in the Indian government. And building upon the brain drain, even if we have the Microns and the Intels of the world supported, and our engineers come back to India, they will still be working for American companies or German companies. If we truly want the brain drain to get navigated to make in India, we have to make monies available for the startups with policies that protect them. Thank you.
So I just have 2 points. One is people development. To sustain the level of growth that we are looking at, we're going to need people. And they have to be developed and really educated in the right way and in the right numbers. Second is the ecosystem building along the entire value chain and really localizing the ecosystem. And third is really, and this is already happening, putting the regulatory framework and the policies to actually enable this to happen very, very fast. Because it's like jumping from one running train to another, and you gotta do it simultaneously.
Thank you, Ravi. Okay, we have time for maximum 2 questions. Any questions from the audience, please? Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, as a student, what should we focus on the skills that who contribute in the Make in India movement?
I'll give it to Aman.
Yeah, so I think there is a lot of skills which are now developing, right? Like if you look at technology, IT में engineers हम लोग बहुत produce करते हैं, but engineering skills for the Make in India industry is limited, right? Secondly, design. Now after making in India, the next part will be design in India, and there are a lot of there is center of excellence, there is a lot of programs for getting the design part made in India. The design in India is becoming the next big thing. So that is one area also you can look at apart from the technology, the technology part of things. So I would say these two are the future. But अभी India में इतना talent है नहीं manufacturing का, right? It is more assembly lines are there, but manufacturing talent will be जैसे एक टाइम आता है जब जैसे computer engineering engineers ज़्यादा डिमांड में आते थे. अभी देखना 4-5 साल बाद IIT का सबसे hot course क्या होता है manufacturing talent के ऊपर, right? So I think that is also getting hot. So,
Yeah,
anybody else wants to add anything on that?
I will give a different spin to this. I'll add 3 skills. If to anybody who is a student right now, is 3 skills. One is courage to do the right thing, not the convenient thing. Second is entrepreneurial mindset. I'm mindful of the fact that we will all not be entrepreneur like Aman, but when I say entrepreneurial mindset is a 21st century skill, which means thinking on seeing business opportunity in every problem, being tenacious, and looking at solving problem on the fly. And the third is leadership. A very important leadership is not about title; it's about starting something in your own arena. So 3 important skills apart from your engineering knowledge and whatever that Aman just alluded upon.
Yeah, Nandini.
Yeah, thank you. Totally agree with all the other panelists what they're saying. I'd like to add 2 more facets. Just like in the case of the Deming method, everybody in the hierarchy, the pyramid needs to know what is the end product. That is critically important because time and again we see the FDA, not only about India but other countries also saying that the end product is not as sterile or as safe as it should be. So everybody needs to be, that skill has to be there. And the second thing is no substitute to excellence. And it cuts across any vertical. The whole notionality that no matter what we do has to be excellent, nobody else does better than what we do, has to be part of the DNA. And that skill has to be there. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, please.
This question is both for Aman and Ravinder.
Can you speak a little louder?
Yeah, so this question is both for Ravinder and Aman. What changed you as a person while you were building your respective companies? That could really help all of us, especially the budding entrepreneurs who we invite to EMCs in different locations. What changed you as a person when you were building these companies?
What changed you as a person when you were building the company?
Both Aman and Ravinder.
Aman and
Ravinder?
so you go first. Easy हो जाता है, सोचने का time मिल जाता है.
Aman, don't share all the secrets. Huh?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you told me to be friend. So जब हम कंपनी स्टार्ट करते हैं ना तो और स्पेशली मैं किसी और MNC में काम करता था, राइट? और जब हम कंपनी स्टार्ट करते हैं ना तो हम सोचते हैं कि देयर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स व्हिच वी थिंक आर टेकन फॉर ग्रांटेड, राइट? हमें लगता है ये एडमिन टीम का काम है, ये फाइनेंस टीम का काम है, एंड ये लॉजिस्टिक्स टीम का काम है. बट जब तुम खुद स्टार्ट करते हो ना तो तुम्हें पता नहीं होता कि तुम्हें सब कुछ खुद करना पड़ता है, बिकॉज यू डोंट हैव मनी टू डू अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स आल्सो, राइट? बिकॉज यू प्रॉब्ली बूटस्ट्रैपिंग एट दैट टाइम, राइट? और फाउंडर सुनना बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि नाउ द फाउंडर है, एंड इफ यू लुक एट द सक्सेसफुल फाउंडर्स यू विल सी द स्टोरी दैट today you know them as successful founders. But what made us was the failures which we've gone through, right? I never got success till, I don't think even I'm still successful, I'm just on the path, right? बट लोगों ने मतलब मैं जब स्टोरी बताता हूँ तो हमारी जो 5 फेल्ड स्टार्टअप्स है ना उसके बारे में मैं ज़्यादा बात करता हूँ बिकॉज जितना मेरे को मैं आई एम फ्रॉम आईएसयू जितना मेरे को आईएसयू में नहीं सिखाया ना उतना मुझे ये फेल्ड स्टार्टअप्स में सिखाया आप जब स्टार्ट करते हो ना तो आप ही मैनेजर हो आप ही पीएन हो आप ही पीएस हो आप ही सीईओ आप ही सीएक्सओ आप ही सब कुछ हो बॉस क्योंकि तब आपके पास 2 मिनट होते हैं तब आपको ये देखना पड़ता है कि आपको जब आपको ये देखना पड़ता है अब पता है क्या होता है जब हम स्टार्ट करते हैं ना तो अगली सैलरी कहाँ से आएगी क्योंकि आदत होती है मंथली सैलरी आने की राइट दैट सैलरी वेयर विल इट कम फ्रॉम राइट माय वाइफ व्हेन आई फेल्ड फॉर 5 स्टार्टअप्स माय वाइफ टोल्ड मी कि मैं देखो 3 साल देती हूँ ठीक है अब तुझे मैं 3 साल दूंगी तुझे 3 साल में जो करना है कर and I was 36 by that time right and you have people who are doing well my wife's name is Priya right so I say I had 2 pressure one was peer pressure one was Priya pressure right so इतना pressure हो जाता है when everybody starts doing well and you are just struggling as an entrepreneur right so things change you then start embracing you start embracing things around you you start taking energy from people around you and there are times when you go down right and those are the times you have to like stand up and say hey, hashtag हम भी बना लेंगे you have to get up and say
Ravinder?
Yeah. So, Aman, your story and my story is similar. The reason why, when I passed out of my college, my father said, truck chalao ya hotel go. Because this is what Sardarjis generally do. But I went ahead in electronics. The fun part for me was that when I started manufacturing electronic typewriters, that was the first product what we got. We had very different challenges as I started in 90s. But slowly, I thought, okay, let me be a little aggressive, and I sold my company to Celestica, one of the largest EMS in the world. And again, in 2009, I bought the same company. Only 6 people in the world have done that. I was the 6th one. And why I bought it back? It was only the passion. So, but after that, I took one wrong business. And that wrong business put us down completely in 2008. So I think what happens is the business teaches you more than what you do as a business. Because in business, these kind of things do happen that when you have a failure, you should have that courage to go back on your basics, that what you knew before will continue to do what you want to do. So that is where we went ahead and went to the basics and struggled and moved ahead in our lives. So I think the failures will happen, but how far you can cover your risk, how far you can challenge yourself, I think that is one of the motivation for all of us.
Thank you. I think we've run out of time and I don't think we have more questions there. So, in summary, I think I'm very encouraged myself seeing the confidence of all of you. And I used to narrate a famous couplet from Shakeel. मुझे खौफ आतिश गुल से है कहीं ये चमन को जला ना दे. I think I'm going to abandon that because I've gathered so much confidence that व्यवस्था ठीक direction में है that you no longer have to have that paranoia. But the takeout from this is that I think the most important thing is that we have to build 100 global Indian champions in the Fortune 500. There have to be 100 Indian companies which become global leaders. I think that is the takeout, and I think 2 of them are already here in the future. Thank you very much. It was a beautiful discussion. I hope you were a great audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shri Mahendraji and all the panelists. We request you to